Coming up today on the Raiders Report, I'm going to give you an update on Tyree Wilson's injury and tell you how long I think that the Raiders defensive end is going to be out for. Lamar Jackson injury news. There's some people that cover the Baltimore Ravens that are a little bit nervous that he might not be 100% healthy to go when the Raiders play them on Sunday. And then the Silver and Black worked out multiple players. I'm filming this show live. We went out and we signed 2 of them, but we also worked out some other dudes that I at least just want to keep you guys in the loop about. Now, here at Chat Sports, we're a bunch of dudes being dudes covering our favorite teams, and our Ravens host was talking a little smack this morning. I heard it. I took a screenshot of this, and he was bragging about how their channel's only got 19,000 subs. We have 173,000, and that they're kicking our butt right now in a sub battle. Here's an easy way to stop that. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, let's show them the power of Raider Nation because they're not ready for it yet. Let's get into this update, though, real quick here about Tyree Wilson. He ended up leaving Sunday's game against the Chargers with a knee injury, and he suffered a knee sprain, according to Ian Rappaport. More testing for Tyree's knee is going to happen, and I'm just telling y'all right now, he is expected to miss some time. So one of my really good buddies, he's a doctor, and anytime any injuries happen, I always reach out to some of my good friends. I grew up in central Pennsylvania. The biggest hospital in Pennsylvania is basically called Geisinger Medical Center, and I got some people that work there, and when injuries like this stuff happens, I pick up the phone, I give them a call, and I go, hey, man, this is the information that I know. What exactly does this mean going forward? So for any time you hear knee, the first thing that you got to think of is, especially in the way that Tyree injured it, his knee is still intact. Like, he didn't tear an ACL, he didn't tear an MCL. Now, they're going to have to go in there, and they're going to have to look at a little bit more details, no doubt about it. But there's 3 levels usually to a knee sprain. The first is grade 1 sprain, which I think this is probably the area that we're dealing with, which is a minor sprain where the ligament stretches but doesn't tear. This usually heals in about 1 to 2 weeks. Based on the information that I've received, he's somewhere between a grade 1 and a grade 2 sprain, which is a moderate sprain where the ligament is partially torn, which can take a month or longer to heal. I'll be real, it would not surprise me if the Raiders wanted to put Tyree Wilson on this short-term IR simply because they've been so patient with him with past injuries and they don't want to rush him into a situation. What you don't want to happen, okay, and I don't think that this is what it is based off of the information that we have right now, is a grade 3 sprain, which is a severe sprain that may require surgery, which can take longer to heal and may require crutches and physical therapy. So, like, for somebody who's injured their knee, I have torn my ACL, I have torn my MCL, I have torn my MCL, I have torn my meniscus, and I almost popped my patellar tendon, and that was all in high school. When I tore my MCL, it was able to heal on itself. I didn't need surgery, but I was out 3 to 4 months. I've also injured my knee where a minor knee sprain that I was able to go back and running in about 2 to 3 weeks. Now, I get it. I'm not an NFL player. I'm not playing at that level, but these guys' bodies also heal usually a little bit quicker because they are freak athletes. So based on the information that I received this morning, he should be out only a few weeks. Now, we'll see what that ends up happening. If you want to go the safer route, maybe you put him on IR. I would be shocked if he ended up on that I wouldn't be shocked if he ended up on the short-term IR. I would be shocked if he ended up on the season-ending IR list. But we've known Telesco wants to go out and add more depth, and I think one of the reasons why the Raiders are looking at some of that extra depth is not only do you have the injury to Tyree Wilson, not only do you have Malcolm Kuntz, who could miss the entire season, that's still not an impossible thing. I know Malcolm and his team are considering that option just because he's going to be a free agent in the offseason, and it's not what he wants to do, but you also got to consider, is it best for his longevity, the best for his career going forward? Now, I am live right now, and the Raiders did sign K'Lavon Chaisson, which tells me that the Raiders were serious about adding a little bit of that extra defensive end line depth, but I've also said this, like for me personally, I want the Raiders to go out and add somebody else. We were counting on Malcolm Kuntz. We were counting on Tyree Wilson. We were counting on both of those players to be common guys out there on our defense, you know what I mean, time and time again. So to me, I want y'all to give me a name, a defensive end that the Raiders should go out and that they should potentially target, because I made a video early this morning. Technically, I'll be honest with y'all, I made it yesterday when Chugs and I got off our flight. But I talked about potentially trading for a Hassan Reddick, potentially trading for an Azeez Ojulari, potentially going out and signing Yannick Ngakoue. So what I want to know down below is a name that you guys think that the Raiders should go out and get. And this is just another reason why you hit that subscribe button. We had K'Lavon Chaisson in this video, and it was one of the names that I didn't have him in my top 3, but go back and watch the video and I go, this is somebody that I wouldn't be surprised if they targeted. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of like the Keelan Doss move, simply because of his connections, simply because K'Lavon, he does have a lot of upside. But if you want to see some other names, because if I'm the Raiders, I still want them to go out and add another defensive player, because quite frankly, I think they need some extra help there at the edge rush position. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to talk about Lamar Jackson and the injuries that have been going on with the Baltimore Ravens quarterback, because there's some beat reporters out there that are a little bit concerned based on the amount of hits, based on the way that he was moving after that Chiefs game on Thursday Night Football. And I think once you hear some of the things that we're going to say, you're going to be like, yeah, I don't know if he's going to be 100% healthy. Before I get into that, though, Prize Picks. I love playing Prize Picks all the time, and it's daily fantasy sports made easy. I think for people that watch this show a lot, you know that I'm a fantasy football guy at heart. I do it all the time, and Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Prize Picks is just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Download the Prize Picks app today at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That is code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. So one of the lineups that I told Jeremy, like, we were not going to be, I'm always honest with you guys, we were scrambling a little bit once the breaking news came in, and he's like, yes or no, more or less, more or less, more or less. So guess what? I mean, it looks like we got a lot of more here. For Lamar Jackson, I'm going to go more on the rushing yards if he's 100% healthy. Devontae Adams, they better target him almost too much on Sunday. Gardner Minshew, give me the more on passing yards. He did throw for 257 in a game that was pretty damn ugly. And it looks like, yet again, they're going to have Caleb Williams at half of a passing yard. I want to say this is, 20 to win $100 on Prize Picks? Yep, Chuck just said that. 20 to win $100 here on Prize Picks. So if you like those picks, if you want to go take your own, I always say I never feel like I actually lose. I always feel like it's a win-win, simply because if I can sit down and watch Monday Night Football with my fiance Alex, and she wants to watch Monday Night Football just because we have the opportunity to make some money, and she likes fantasy football, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and make sure that you use code CLNS. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. So let's get in here to the latest around the Ravens quarterback, Lamar Jackson, who missed Monday's practice. Now, he was at the facility, but that was for team picture day. I did find it a little bit weird that the Ravens are doing picture day after week 1. And Harbaugh said that more information would end up coming out on Wednesday. The reason why that this is just something that really piqued my interest, and when you follow a lot of the people around the Baltimore Ravens, their concern comes from, this is from a Thursday night game, okay? Thursday night game, who Lamar's battled some injuries in the past, and he did, man. He took some pretty heavy shots there from the Kansas City Chiefs, and when you look at some of the reports that were, not that he looked injured, but he was a little hobbled after the game, and I think for anybody that's ever played a sport, sometimes that ends up happening. If he's not out there on that practice field Wednesday, you're going to start looking at it a little bit more. Thursday, Friday, maybe a little bit more concerns. Now, typically, Lamar does take some days off. He's a 2-time MVP, and they're not going to try to rush him back, but I think he would have been out there if he would have been 100% healthy. And the fact that maybe he's not 100% healthy is just something that the Raiders should keep in mind. In terms of games missed over the past 5 seasons, Lamar missed 1 game last season, but still was playing through some other injuries that ended up happening. Usually Lamar's injuries happen at the end of the season because he is a mobile quarterback, and that takes a lot of wear and tear on somebody. And even though he has, bulked up a little bit this season, or I actually think this year he lost some weight, he has looked faster. He had a hell of a game, but he is somebody that battles some injuries. If he's unable to go, the quarterback that you're going to see end up going for them is Tyler Huntley, which the reason why that I think is noteworthy is because Huntley spent most of this offseason with the Cleveland Browns. He ended up getting released, and then the Baltimore Ravens ended up signing him. And Huntley, even though he's new to the team this season. He's been the backup to Lamar Jackson for multiple seasons, so I don't know if he's going to have all that trouble picking up the new offense, but this is a new offense in a sense for the Baltimore Ravens. Coming up next here, let's get into some players that the Raiders worked out today on September 10th at the time that I am recording this video. The Raiders already went out and they signed one of the guys. Technically, actually, they signed two of the guys that they worked out today. The first name, which is a name that I've been talking about and why we're even live on today's show, is K'Lavon Chaisson. He ended up signing into the practice squad. Somebody who's got some connections with Mike Caldwell, somebody who's been a first-round bust, and he was not very good, but this is somebody that I do think needed a change of scenery. He ended up getting it. Another player that the Raiders ended up signing today after a workout on their practice squad is Kyu Blu Kelly. Kyu Blu Kelly. I want to say that the Raiders, I feel like they brought him in before. This name is ringing a bell to me. Did have 5 tackles last season. The Raiders also worked out another cornerback as well, who I did kind of talk about a little bit yesterday. I also made a short about him. His name is Micah Abraham, and maybe they potentially decide to bring him in as well. But per Aaron Wilson, the Raiders worked out former Marshall cornerback Micah Abraham. He played with the Herd, right? They're the Herd from 2019 to 2023. And what's interesting about this is he was selected by the Colts this season in the 6th round of the 2024 NFL Draft. And when you hear some of the notes on him, and I can remember Tom talking to me about this guy in terms of Tom's always, I think, really good at being able to do it from this is how it makes sense from a Raiders standpoint. He's like an Amik Robertson, just not as good, if that helps you kind of help out. But Lance Zierlein said this: ball-hawking cover man with impressive instincts and rare ball production. Abraham is highly experienced as a wide corner, but a lack of size with necessity to move into the slot. He plays with greedy eyes and is constantly looking to make a play on the football. He looks twitchier on tape than he did at his pro day and already possesses NFL caliber ball skills. His technique and pad level can be sloppy, and that must be ironed out if he is to have a shot at covering in the NFL slot targets. His aggressive mindset extends to his hitting and tackling. Abraham is capable in man or zone coverage, but zone might give him the best chance to shine at the next level. The reason why I compared him to Amik also is because everybody said the exact same thing about Robertson of, he's undersized, he's not big enough to play on the outside. You got to kick him in the inside. And there were some times that Amik showed you that, you know what, man, I got that dog in me to go out there and play on the outside. And Micah's tape to me is better on the outside. And sometimes if it's not broken, don't fix it. He is built to be more of a slot in the NFL, but that's also not where his strengths are. He is an aggressive player. And when I hear of aggressive players, I do think of Jack Jones, somebody that nobody thought was going to have, another chance in the NFL, goes through waivers. The Raiders are the only team that goes out there, ends up picking him up, brings him onto this team, and he's an aggressive mindseted guy. And for the Raiders that have a defense that's led by Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, they're going to be able to get pressure on QBs. When you have an aggressive corner, it is something that does help you out quite a bit. Now, again, Kyu Blu Kelly is on the Raiders practice squad. Maybe he does end up getting put up there. We just wanted to put him on the depth chart just so you guys could kind of see the new addition that the Raiders ended up making. Before I get out of here today, since it's the football season, Chugs and I go live every single Thursday night football game. And I love Thursday night football because I get to know y'all better. You get to know Chugs and I better. We put those drinking pants on. We have a little bit of a shit show. And then guess what? We have some fun. If you're down to have a good time on Thursday night, we're going to go live an hour and a half probably before kickoff because we also do some other Raiders stuff beforehand, just that way we can get some content done. That way it's not just Thursday Night Football shenanigans. We will get some Raiders content done beforehand. So please hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications and make sure you're joining us for Bills at Dolphins because this is a game that will have playoff aspirations. This is going to be a game where I think obviously one of these teams is going to make the playoffs. One of these teams is going to win that division. I don't think it's going to be the New York Jets. I do think it's one of them. But one of these teams also is going to be battling for a wild card spot. And I know we lost to the Chargers, but I'm not giving up playoff hopes quite yet.